Hello, my most amazing artists. How are you today? I hope that you said you are ready to create. Today we are going to be making a surreal space scene. I actually just painted my example version for you guys. It's still kind of wet with a watercolor, but today you're going to need crayons and watercolors. If you don't have those materials, that's totally fine. You can do this with any drawing utensil and coloring materials such as markers, crayons, colored pencils, but it's gonna have a really cool effect if you do have these crayons and watercolors to create this surreal space scene. This week, you guys have been learning about Baroque art, and Baroque art puts emphasis on imagination. So today, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna be using our imagination to create this surreal space scene. So let's get started right away. I'm gonna put my example to the side. You're gonna need a white piece of paper up in front of you, up and down ways, and let's just get started. Let's dive right in. We are gonna start by drawing a big circle for our big Saturn planet. Now we need to draw our ring around Saturn. As you can see here, I actually used a white crayon, which is really cool. And once you add the watercolors, it has this wax resist effect where you can actually use a white crayon and it'll show through, which is totally magical, totally surreal, and I love it. But if you're not doing the crayon and watercolor technique, because maybe you don't have crayons and watercolors, you can just add the ring around Saturn in any color you want. But if you're doing it the same way I am, we're gonna add that ring right there with our white crayon. So it's hard to see it because it is white. So you're gonna have to look very, very, very close. And the harder you press, the better it will come up when you're adding the paint on top of it. So we're just adding that ring around Saturn. Now I have my scratch paper here. This is what it's going to look like if you're doing it just with regular colors. And that's what you're trying to draw. When you do it with the white, you just can't really see it right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some details to our planet Saturn, because Saturn is the one that has rings. Oh, I just broke one of my crayons. I am always breaking crayons, but that's totally okay. Adding in those details. To our planet. However you want it to turn out is fine. You don't have to copy me at all. And I know I move quickly in these videos. So if you ever need to pause the video to catch up, you need to rewind to re-listen to a step, whatever you need, that is totally fine with me. And there is our Saturn. Now we're going to be adding these cool tubes that you see throughout our space scene. It just makes it so interesting to look at. And would you find these tubes in space? Probably not, but that's why we are using our imagination today to get creative. Now, I'm going to start off with a green color, but you can pick any color you want. Remember that this is your masterpiece and you are in charge of how it looks. So I'm going to just start by drawing a curved line like this. Now you could copy my lines or you could do your own lines. It's up to you. What's important is that we're going in after we draw our line and thickening it up. Just like this. Remember, we want to press hard because when we add our watercolors on top of it, the wax of the crayon is going to resist, which means it's not going to soak up the watercolor and it's going to shine through. And the harder that you push, the better that it ends up looking. Oh, broke another crayon. I just push way too hard when I'm using crayons. Next, we're gonna go in with a new color that we pick. I'm gonna have this tube come in kind of outside around Saturn, taking a turn, and come in underneath this green tube, off the page, and back on like that. So it's very important we're not coloring on top of our green tube. We want this tube to be going underneath it because we're layering these tubes. And the ones we're drawing first are farther forward in the foreground of our image, meaning they're closer to where we're looking at. And the ones we draw after are farther away, so they're behind each tube that we draw. And that's what makes this image really interesting to look at. All right. Next, we're gonna pick another color. I'm gonna pick the color blue, and we're gonna have it come in behind this red tube or whatever color you chose, go behind it again, come around. It's really just going through all these different colors, go around again, and we're making sure it's going underneath each tube that we've drawn before it. Very interesting. And we're thickening it up again. And these different tubes are what is making this art piece very visually appealing. And unique to look at, because all of you, I'm sure, are putting your own spin on this, because this art project is all about using our imagination, like we said at the beginning. And so we want this to be very imaginative, because I don't think this is what space really looks like. This is just the image we're creating from our own mind. Oh, and Miss G broke another crayon. Oh my goodness. Okay, now time for our next color. I am going to do this like yellow-green color. And I'm gonna do, this one might be kind of hard to show up on the camera, but it'll show up really nicely once I end up painting on top of it. But I'm gonna have it go over here, and it's gonna imaginary go off the page. It's gonna go back behind all of these tubes we've already drawn, back behind Saturn, and it's gonna come out around the other side. And I'm just thickening that line up, making sure I'm going behind those tubes we've already drawn, because remember, these ones are farther away from our eye. Okay. And we're gonna draw one more final tube. I'm gonna use a purple, or it's called a blue-violet color. And our tube is gonna go behind the blue one. It's gonna imaginary go off the page, come through Saturn, and go like this. Off the page again, through these tubes, going up and underneath. Now it's time to thicken that line up. And that is our last tube. Next, we're going to be adding some more planets. So we're just thickening that tube up. We have a whole array of different colored tubes intertwining through each other. Looks really, really, really neat in my opinion. And remember, if you need time, oh, broke another crayon. I'm just breaking all the crayons today. Don't worry if you need to pause the video to catch up. I have had years of art training, so I can color with crayons really quickly, but it might take you more time, and that's fine. Just pause the video so you can catch up. All right, time to add some more planets. I'm gonna add pink planet right here. You can add whatever color planet you want. I'm gonna add some circles on this planet. Then I'm gonna add an orange planet over here. It's gonna be behind all these, it's in the background. So we're adding it behind all these tube shapes. It's kind of hard to make a perfect circle, but that's okay. We're gonna do our best. And I'm gonna use actually my white crayon, and I am going to add some circles just like I did on this little pink planet, but I'm gonna do them in white. So when I use watercolors, they'll show up. But if you're not using watercolors, you can just add whatever details you want to your planet in whatever color you want. And that is fine with me. I'm gonna add another planet over here behind these tubes. Gonna add some little swirly lines to it, give it some texture, some details. You can decorate your planets however you want. And I'm gonna add one more planet over here in the corner, a little blue planet with some zigzaggy lines. Now, this next part, if you're doing the crayon and watercolor technique, is really cool. As you can see, I added a bunch of stars, little constellations and little dots of light in the background of the galaxy. It's kind of probably hard to see on camera, but I'm sure some of them are picking up. So if you are using not crayons and watercolors, you can draw these stars and little shapes however you want with whatever color you want. We're gonna be drawing shapes like these, so I'll show you some more examples of me drawing them. Stars just like that, some little dots, and like I said, these little constellations. You can do these in whatever color you want, or you can do them in white if you're gonna go over in watercolor, and they'll pop out like they did in this image in this really cool way. So that is what I'm gonna add right now. Remember, if you are doing this method, the harder you push, the better it will show up when you are watercoloring over them. But again, it's up to you how you do this, how you add it. It's your masterpiece and you are in charge of it. Yep, I am just adding different details to it. And the next step after this is either coloring it in or using your watercolors to color it in, depending on what materials you're using today. And I am so excited to see the finished product once we start adding in our colors, because that is what really ties it together and what really makes it look beautiful. Okay, first I'm gonna go ahead and color in those planets. I'm gonna start off with Saturn, our planet with the ring. The cool thing is with if you're doing the crayon watercolor method, you don't even have to stay in the lines. The crayon does the work for you. And the colors just show through. So pretty. Okay. And I'm just gonna pick different colors for my planets. I'm gonna paint my little pink planet pink. I'm gonna do this planet over here. We're gonna do this planet in a yellow. You don't even have to watch out for the lines because, like I said, does the work for you. The crayons just shine through. But if you're doing it with something else, just make sure you are staying within those lines and you're kind of treating it like a coloring book page like we did last week. We did our outlines and then we colored it in. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do another, let's do this planet orange. It's kind of a misshapen circle, but you can see our little circle dots that we drew with our white crayon are showing through, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And then we'll have our little bottom blue planet over here. And our planets are done, and now it's time to do our galaxy background. Now you guys can really pick whatever color you want. We've done galaxy projects in my class before. Some galaxy skies are a mix of purples and blues and blacks and grays and whatever colors you want to use. I think I'm going to keep mine simple and just use a gray background, but it's totally up to you how you want to color yours in. So, like I said, we don't have to really stay in the lines. The crayon helps us a lot. Look at that cool effect from our Saturn ring. But we do want to make sure where we've used watercolor, we do not color in. So we go around our planets carefully because we don't want those to bleed together. And you can see all our beautiful stars and constellations we've drawn are just popping up like magic. It's so cool. I like using the dark gray color because it makes our white from our crayon pop a lot more. And I think that's a really cool effect to see come to life. So we are just taking our time, coloring in our background and having our art piece really come together. Our very surreal, imaginative space galaxy scene. I'm really excited to see the artistic choices that you all made in your art piece to see how everyone's looks. I love that with these art projects, we all have different materials and different styles. So all of our art pieces are turning out very unique and very different from each other. I would love to see your art project. If you guys ever want to email it to me or share them with me on Instagram, I would love, 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 love to see what your surreal space scene looks like. Because I am certain it is amazing. Look how cool all our little crayon stars are looking when they pop out. Oh, that is my favorite part of this project. Amazing. Our galaxy themed art piece is finished. This one's a little bit more dry now. This one's still wet. I think I did the background a little bit darker, but they both look super cool. I love looking at them. Even though I just kind of I did both of these, they're still different and unique, which I love. And I had so much fun creating this artwork with you all. I hope that you guys had a fun time too. I will see you guys next time for our next visual arts lesson. I hope you guys have a great day and I will see you next time.